I watched every anime this season, and here's my top 10. Okay, I didn't actually watch every anime, but it makes for a good intro, doesn't it? It's time to put 2022 in the rear view mirror and look ahead to what winter 2023 has in store for us. I watched a bunch of anime airing this season, and although it's weaker than last fall, there's still a bunch of quality anime to look forward to. So, I narrowed down this season's anime to 10 that you shouldn't miss. But, before we begin, there's a couple of rules I put in place for the list. The first rule is no sequels, so shows like Don't Toy With Me Miss Nagatoro and Vinland Saga won't be here. Of course, I didn't put this rule because I'm not caught up to Vinland Saga yet. No way! Okay, that's exactly why. Second, I'm judging based only on the first episode of each show. You can call this the first impressions list. Oh, and even though this is a top 10, the anime here aren't actually ranked. These are just the 10 anime I enjoyed the most. Now, without further ado, let's dive in. Let's get the isekai entry out of the way early. I've watched every isekai this season has to offer, and while most of them were forgettable at best, there were a couple that actually stuck with me. But if I have to pick just one, then it'll be the magical revolution of the reincarnated princess and the genius young lady. Holy crap, that's a mouthful.
Oh, Aru-kun, yippee!
We follow Anisphia, a princess that has no affinity for magic, but despite that, she defies expectations in her magicology research thanks to memories of her past life, and one day, while testing a flying broom, she witnesses her brother breaking off his engagement with Euphilia, and unjustly strips her from being the kingdom's next queen. Anisphia then takes Euphilia away and tries to help clear her name. Yes, it's a Yuri isekai, and so far, it's a very fun watch. Mainly thanks to Anisphia. Her not caring about royal customs and traditions and just doing what she likes made this anime entertaining, and one that deserves your time. The second anime in this list is Endo and Kobayashi Live, the latest on Tsundere Villainess Lieselotte. This one is not quite an isekai, but it has the necessary ingredients. Endo and Kobayashi are members of the broadcasting club, and to help him practice, Kobayashi makes Endo play her favorite otome game, while Endo commentates on the game events. However, Prince Sigurd, one of the romantic interests in the game, can actually hear them, and with their guidance, he tries to save Lieselotte from her doom. If you watch my videos, you probably already know that I have a weakness to the otome game setting, and this one plays on that perfectly, and then some. Instead of someone being isekai'd into the game's world, this time we have two perspectives, one from the players and one from the characters, and so far, I'm having a blast with it. Speaking of anime playing on my weakness, next is Body Daddies. It's basically what happens if two hitmen suddenly find themselves taking care of a kid. Kazuki and Rei, two assassins, meet Miri, a 4-year-old girl searching for her father. But thanks to them unaliving her father, she now thinks that Kazuki is her father and lives with them. My other anime weakness, the fatherhood genre. However, thanks to the nature of Kazuki and Rei's job, this one isn't as heartwarming as shows like Sweetness and Lightning, but it's one of the funnier and more entertaining ones. Plus, how can someone hate this little rascal? Need to cool down? Then The Ice Guy and his cool female colleague is just the anime for you. Nailed the transition. Himuro is an office worker, but he's a descendant of the Japanese mythical creature, the Yuki Onna, and whenever he's excited, he freezes everything around him, which is bad for those around him, because he has a soft spot for his co-worker, Fuyutsuki, a calm and cool woman who's really nice to Himuro and helps him with his problems. This one's a romance anime, but it's different from those usually in the genre. Instead of the tired high school setting, this time, they're actually adults working together, just like Wotakoi, and that alone makes the show a breath of fresh air. Plus, it's a really sweet and heartwarming show, despite its cool characters. See what I did there? Now that we got our refresher, let's go back to high school with our next entry. Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible. Junta has a simple goal, to have a fulfilling youth, but he has one problem. His presence is almost non-existent. It's so bad that his classmates and teachers think his seat is always empty and always skips school. However, there's one person who notices him, and she has a pouting face like no other. Kubo, the girl seated next to him. She always teases Junta and tries to see how much he can get away with his lack of presence. Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible gives off similar vibes to teasing Master Takagi-san, but I'm enjoying Kubo even more. I don't know if it's thanks to Kana Hanazawa's performance as Kubo, or if I just like this cast more, but if you want a cute rom-com, then you can't go wrong with Kubo. Now, for the sports entry of the season, I'm going with Ippon Again. After an embarrassing loss in her final middle school tournament, Michi decides to call it quits and never do judo again, and instead live a lazy high school life and get a boyfriend. However, she's surprised to find Towa, the girl who defeated her in the tournament, in the same high school, and after finally getting an Ippon off her, her love for judo reignites and joins the judo club. Ippon Again's a light-hearted anime, perfect for the winter, and that's enough for me to be on this list. No season would be complete without some degeneracy, and this season's no exception. We have a couple of degenerate anime this season, like Ayakashi Triangle, and probably the most degenerate anime I've ever seen in my life as Inokai-san's dog. But my pick is Onimai. It's basically what would happen if Oni-chan became an Imoto. I'm dead inside. Recluse Mahiro would rather sit all day in his room playing video games, but his younger sister, Mihari, has other plans for him. She gives him a medicine she's been experimenting with and turns him into a girl to try and rehabilitate him. Even though the anime is somewhat degenerate, it's interesting seeing how Mahiro gets used to his life as a girl and dealing with all the biological changes that come with it. I know I said this list isn't ranked, however, I lied. The previous entries are actually unranked, but the next 3 are my top picks for the season, and the ones I recommend the most. Coming in 3rd place is Trigun Stampede. Trigun is back, baby! Vesh the Stampede's a joyful, gunslinging pacifist, but somehow, he has a bounty of 6 million. But why? That's what reporters Meryl Streif and her jaded partner try to find out. A quick disclaimer, if you think Trigun Stampede is going to be a modern adaptation of the original Trigun, then you're sorely mistaken. I don't remember much of the original Trigun, but even I could tell that they're taking a different direction this time. For example, Millie was nowhere to be found in the first episode, and she was actually replaced. Even the story has a different starting point this time. However, arguably Trigun Stampede's most controversial feature is its CG animation. It's animated by Studio Orange, whose works include shows like Land of the Lustrous and Beasts of Ars, which should be enough to prove that they're one of the best studios that uses CG in anime. Speaking for myself, I think it looks great, and after the duel scene, I'm 100% confident that it's going to be beautiful. I'm very happy that Trigun is back, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. In 2nd place is Tomo-chan is a Girl, probably the most fun anime this season. Tomo and Jun are the tightest bros you'll ever see, but there's one problem. Tomo is a girl, and she's actually in love with Junta. However, Jun just sees her as one of the guys, and even though Tomo tries to make him see her as a girl, her attempts always end in failure, and with Tomo usually slogging Jun. The dynamic between Tomo, Jun, and Tomo's friend Misuzu is probably my favorite this season. Seeing the difference between how Jun treats Tomo and Misuzu, and how Misuzu likes to toy with them, and how Tomo wishes to be treated as a girl instead of one of the boys, all of it makes this one of the most fun and entertaining anime this season, and just a show that makes you forget your troubles and laugh them all away, even if just for a little bit. However, despite all that, there's still one anime that impressed me more this season. Giant Beasts of Ars is my number 1 anime this season. I'm honestly not the biggest fan of the fantasy genre, but when it's done right, it can be one of my favorite shows of all time. Just look at Made in Abyss. In a world where beasts created the land, but humans stole it from them, so in order to get revenge, the beasts began eating humans who in turn fight the beasts. However, in this age, humans hunt the beasts for profit. The anime begins with Kumi, an escaped prototype being chased by soldiers. She manages to avoid them for a while, but they later catch up to her. Surrounded with no way to escape, Jiro, a beast hunter, rescues her. It's still early days, but I feel that Giant Beasts of Ars is the anime with the most potential to blow me away this season. It left a strong first impression on me, but I just hope it continues like that, and who knows, it may turn out to be my anime of the season. And that's my list. This season is shaping up to be a fun one, which is perfect for winter. However, I'm sure I missed a few anime here and there, and I'd like to know what's everyone's favorite anime this season so far. So let me know down in the comments below, and if you like the video, then like and subscribe. It helps out a lot, especially with the inflation going on. Anyway, this has been Ennio, and until next time, matane!